What's up, y'all? This is your boy Youre. It is Friday, 25th of November, 2016. How is everybody doing? Well, I'm putting this video out. Well, you saw the title. First of all, there's no words that can convey the love and support that I feel for each and every one of you, and those having the courage to reach out for validation. Just your time is priceless and it is valued. And from time to time, I get questions asked, some for perspective, and some just, it's just a subject on my heart. But for nearly the last 5 years, one thing has always had a life of its own, and that was from the female viewership. Yes, my queens, God's gift to man, the wildflowers, the most precious jewel ever found on this earth. Because, see, that jewel cannot be obtained by the average hand. It takes a person to know themselves, to understand what is required to not only have access, meaning to protect it, but the value of the key that will be needed to unlock the other side of your life. See, it's real simple to look at your finances, look at your challenges, look at your fears when you don't have to claim them. Everybody's got 2 cents for that. But what about the work required? Everybody has an opinion when there is no effort and it is passed along the way. But you know what? What about the opportunity? What about what makes it unique? All these things are apparent the moment you ground your feet and take stock of who is looking at you from that mirror. Yeah, you know that beautiful pearly whites and beautiful eyes with endless potential. I'm talking about you. Can't buy that in the store. Though they try to convince you that if you add this, it will enhance that, and if that enhances that, it will take you there, only to leave you more confused, only to have you pick up the pieces. Well, this is what this video is about. I'll try to be brief as best as I can, but we're talking about your state of being. Yeah, your emotions. You know, that heart. That's what we're talking about. And one of the questions I always get, Youre, I always know how to attract them, but they always tend to leave as quick as they come. And I've tried numerous approaches, and it always brings me back to square one. See, it's going to do that. It's going to continue to do that. Why? Because we're talking about the real you. Not the person that has the audience outside their door. And I'm talking about the person with the crust in their eyes and breath that smells like 5 days of get back, but is truly loved. So one of the questions you asked, Gerald, why do men, what is it that men look for in a companion? That's kind of like picking up an orange and saying, is it sweet? Or throwing away a banana because it has a bruise. You can't turn around and take yourself and compare it to the next because of what you say, what you mimic. Because I know there are people that are going to always say, well, Gerald, hey, imitation is flattery. No, it's not. It never was. It shows what you lack or what was not discovered yet. So let's go there since you want to go there. Because right now, unless you've been isolated, and I pray you are not someone that is young, rushing to become older, because that's progressive. What's at stake is your journey and the lessons that will be shown. I'm talking about your wisdom, the most prized commodity that will define the makings of you. You wouldn't drink Kool-Aid without the sugar, would you? So what makes you think you can go through life without the knowledge needed to navigate it? Who am I talking to? So, I'll start. One of the things that has become evident in our generation, in our reality now, is there is a lack for authenticity and an investment on what is temporary. How's that? How's that apply to you? It's quite simple. As I've always echoed, we are what we attract. So you can't build anything without a foundation, right? You can't, it's like your muscle. Yeah, you see them, but if you don't maintain them, it can't stand the test. So let me take the allegory away, because I know some of you, your attention span is that big and you think that your life is like a drive-through at McDonald's and you can just put your order in and then grab your bag and go on, but only to realize that it's missing something. And you've got to make a decision. Do I go back or do I keep going on? That's what a lot of you are going through these days. That's why, which is really sad, because what's required is for you to take note. So let me throw this disclaimer out. If you are under the age of 35, ground your feet. If you are under the age of 20, pump your brakes. If you are 15, let me tell you something. What is going to fix your woes will not be found in the confounds of a man. Actually, what is being revealed to you is what lacks thereof at the moment. You'll also see why the rebellion is there. Now, for those who have been very fortunate to navigate through your 20s, make it to your 30s, and actually seeing the age of 35. I asked you right at this moment, look back. You say that you're strong. I asked you, look back. And what you will see is truth. On one hand, you know what the term Trail of Tears is all about. You also know what it cost you. And you also see what is evident today. See, somewhere along the way, somebody convinced you to forget about you, to compromise and not build. Someone said, hey, you are not good enough, and because you're not good enough, this is what is needed. Little did they tell you the whole time they were placing a snare to distract you for the work that was evident from long ago. So, for those who have that short attention span, I deliberately did it this way because unfortunately, your lesson starts with being focused. See, there are going to be plenty of people that are going to scan through this video and think that that's all is needed to lock, stock, and barrel the person that you wish to be aligned with you. And I hate to tell you this. When's the last time you looked outside your world, outside your reality? Haven't you noticed there has been a divide, oh so subtle, very covert? On one hand, you're losing to the genders. On the other, you're losing because there is no trust. See, these videos have always been progressive. They all interlock. And if you allow yourself to listen, you can hear what your spirit needed all along. So, why is it now more than ever there is a civil war or a spiritual war between the genders? And what's going on is you have a lot of people that are saying and doing one thing, but emotionally they're doing the opposite. And they're barely holding on. Why? It's evident. What is it that you hold on to so much that it costs you your bonds, costs you your relationships, costs you your progression? What is it? I'll tell you what it is. It's fear. And what does fear do? Finally, everything's a reality. And the truth is, you're tired of it. You're tired of holding the short end of the stick. You're not seeing what's equal. And really what you're witnessing is the unyoked trying to be yoked. It doesn't work that way. So I'm going to break it down. I've talked long enough, and I hope this helps you out. One of the things that men, first of all, let's go there. You cannot call yourself a man based off of what society acknowledges a man to be. Did you hear what I'm saying? It does not matter what your material worth is if it doesn't match your spiritual one. So, with that being said, he's not a man. He's just a boy with a man's body. Because any man knows that until he decides to place God first in front of all his actions, he can't go nowhere. He won't be able to see his direction. And if he can't see his directions, guess what? All that he's going to attract are setbacks, downfalls, shakeups, and breakdowns. I've also echoed in the past. Right now, you think you're being punished. And you feel that, well, I've got to be a little methodical in how I do things when I interact with people of the opposite sex, Gerald, because I don't want to be labeled or put in the same bag. But actuality, indirectly, you are. Because see, a real man, he knows the real from the not so real. He knows a diamond from a handful of cubic zirconiums. And he has to make a choice because the choice is blessed. No man is going to place his name, which is really his covenant, over someone that he can't grow with. Who am I talking to? It doesn't matter how well put together he is. The one will be the spiritual key to unlock what was hidden. That's why you always hear this. For every great man is a great woman. Because both positions, there is a trade-off. Both positions, there is vulnerability. Both positions is communication, sender, receiver. But you know what? Both positions require being submissive. The yin, the yang. See, you can't take two of the same and expect to go in the right direction. No different than you can take two opposites going in different directions and expect to go forward. It'll only bring you back to where you began. So what is it that men look for in a companion? All right. We don't fall in love with the physical. That's just a sprinkle. What keeps us attracted is right here. Yes. See, we know that if you treasure this, you're going to value this because it's interchangeable. We know that you will respect not only the placement of where you are in your life, but you won't allow yourself to become stagnant nor accept it from them. We know that if it's genuinely given, it will be genuinely protected. That's why if you have to look over your shoulder, remember what you said and did, or even be covert. See, a real man is not going to fight you. Why would he place damage on the place that he should protect? Why? That's the reason why you don't see men out there busting out windows and blowing out tires We don't do that. But what we do is we do take note. We look for the nuances and the things that don't fit. That is another thing that most men will do. Because see, when a man loves you, and oh, by the way, if you have yet to see my video, I did a video a couple years back called How to Tell If a Man Loves You. Look at it. I also did one for the women. But none of that matters if you don't love yourself first. Until the submission of you being comfortable with you, can you understand what is needed to love you first? That's why he can't be your knight in shining armor. He can't. But I know that contradicts something. So, well, how can he not be my knight in shining armor, Gerald, when he's supposed to be there? He's not going to be your knight in shining armor. He's going to be your forever. That's why he is the one. But if he doesn't put God first in everything he does, it's not going to last anyway. The cracks are going to show. The problems are going to come. And he will concede. And he will go about his business. Nope. He's not going to turn around and try to embarrass you. Why would he embarrass his best friend? Because that's who you are. You are a mirror reflection of him, just from a different perspective. You can't make a man in your image. He must be a man before he says hello. So how do you know? Or what does a man look for in a companion? Unconditional love of herself. See, what's at stake is his seed, which lies within himself, physically, cultivated spiritually, and guided by the Most High. So, really, when you think about it, it doesn't matter who you know. It matters how you respond. And yes, I know there'll be plenty that say, well, you know what? I'll just get him to think this way, and what I lack, we'll learn as we go. Nope. You're just doing yourself a disservice and delaying what was rightfully yours all along. And see, that's what that devil does. That devil, he is able to tap into your most inner thoughts. We're talking about the ones that are heart level. And think about the times when you said to yourself, wow, she's with him and she doesn't appreciate him. And if I had a guy like that, oh, would I give my all. But see, what you didn't realize is that's what came into your life. In some instances, a carbon copy. Just look at the patterns of the people that you deemed a type. They all look alike. They all sound alike. They may even have the same kind of occupational field. You know why? Just to keep you focused to your pain. And yes, I know, as we try to navigate our lives and mature, some will do a 360 change, a last-ditch effort to really feed the egos of those who are looking in defiance and say, I'll show you I'm worthy. and you'll go date someone knowing they can't. I'm not trying to make light of it, but it happens all the time. When in actuality, you should be going within yourself. Hold that thought 1 second. So you say, Drew, what is it that, what do men look in? What do they look for these days? Why? Because I'm still by myself. I'll tell you that. Still repeating the cycle, but the wounds run deeper and deeper. And no matter how hard you try to convince yourself that, no, I'm not dumb. I'm a good catch, but you keep attracting more pain. See, let me explain something to you, Queens. Truth has a way of humbling us. And then some, it is validation. That's why we have so many divorces now, because what they think is validation really is nothing but procrastination. It is nothing but a distraction of what you already know you need to do, but you are afraid to give a voice to. So what happens? You get robbed of your time. You get put in situations that you know better, but your pride has control of you. You say to yourself, well, I know this is not good for me, but I'll play the victim on this one, and then hopefully he'll change. Only thing he's going to change is the angle and how he can inflict more pain. Why? This is free will. We teach people how we wish to be treated. Energy out is energy return. That's why we attract what we are inside. So if the pattern has been a downward spiral or a broken staircase, why won't you go within? Why won't you? All that is examples time and time again to love yourself more. And if you refuse to do so, guess what? The devil will come right in like a thief in the night and say, well, you know what? Give up on all of them and go talk to Charlotte. She knows what you need, only to hurt you bad. That's not your story. It never was. So, why does it seem like you're seeing a repetitive pattern? You changed up the guys you date by social status, thinking that would make the disappointment a little less difficult to swallow. But when you turn around and look back for whence you came, not only will you see what was sacrificed, bartered, or even swindled. Let's talk about that swindle, because I know some of y'all are still nursing being sexually assaulted. Yes, and that is the reason why you are more ultra sexual in response. You say, I'm going to think like a man, Gerald, but I'm going to act like a lady. But who taught you? Who taught you those tools needed to navigate being a woman? Who taught you? When you should look at the examples of what didn't work. Maybe that's what got you terrified, because you don't want to end up just like them. Inside your mind, you're doing time and you're saying, Lord, you know I want a good man. I want him to be responsible. I want him to be my frack and I'm his frick, and we are unconditionally in love and we will go through life together. Let me tell you something. The blessing's going to come, but it's not going to be for you. And you say, that's hard, Gerald. Why would you say that? Until you decide to destroy your ego, can the love come through it? Until you unconditionally fall in love with that beautiful little girl that you were the whole time. Some of you, unfortunately, have the reality of looking in the mirror and don't even recognize the person you are, because you allowed the things outside your door to convince you that you were less than when you were the exception to the rule. But fear not, because God doesn't waste anything. He is a jealous but loving God. And right now, as he has always been, he's hurt. Because man wants to put himself on the plateau of him and will always fall short. Don't you realize every time you embrace bad behavior, you attract more of the same? Some know that as karma, but really that's nothing but divine intervention. I know I'm talking to someone, but let me throw this out there too, because for my single moms out there, there's no such thing as giving up on love, because you say, well, I'm done. You can't give up something that you don't know what feels like, because you didn't have the proper teachers. Maybe those who were most influential, did not know what love is, and you were emulating just to be counted for. How many times did you have to do something you just knew, this ain't me, I'm not about that life, I'm not going to compromise, but now looking, that is a normal behavior. Let me tell you something. What you seeking for will never come until you stop. Did you hear what I said? Until you stop. You got to stop doing this. You got to get up from that window seat. Take that spiritual backpack off that's got your pain and open it up. And one by one, you have to look at your role in it, how it affected you, and forgive it. See, you can't receive a blessing if you're holding on to a burden. So does it surprise you? The past behavior is They don't stick around when the sun come up, but they're always there when the moon is full. But guess what? They didn't deserve you to begin with. So the repetitive cycle continues. The Jezebel spirit is real, y'all. Her whole sole purpose is to get you to destroy yourself from the inside out. Your targets may be your babies. And that's something we don't give credit to them, because they are extensions of you, walking, talking you. So if you think you're intelligent, what do you think they are? They see it all. So that goes back to what I said, maybe, just maybe, when the condemnation was going down and the abuse was going on, love was nowhere to be found. And you said, well, you know what? If I can't beat them, I'll join them. And it's survival of the fittest. But you're still walking around with a hole in the shape of maybe your mother, maybe your father. It's pretty obvious. There's a lot of women walking around with a shape in their heart of their dads, and they're wondering why the first original man sets the temple of all the men that you're going to meet. You know why? Because part of your makeup is of your father. But I know there's some of you that say, I don't need my dad. He was a deadbeat. I don't know any man in his right mind that would leave his daughter to be preyed upon. And I know, and I say that because that's like cutting half of yourself in half. No right man would do that. So perhaps there were obstacles. Maybe there were non-truths that you are not privileged to know. Highly recommend you do the research. How about speak your truth and ask the questions to who was the source the whole time and watch them respond. That will tell you without it being revealed. Then maybe you just be humble. Because what you may not be realizing is what was on your feet, what was under your feet the whole time was your story. Those obstacles that you thought were yours were really nothing but distractions to keep you from looking under your feet. But see, I also understand this too, because see, we live in an environment, and I say environment because it's only your reality if you choose it. Some of y'all will let that sink. Some of y'all will accept it. And some of y'all will allow this to be the motivation to do something different. I know some of y'all hate the fact that you sleep in a bed by yourself. And you have to go through the rigmarole of getting in the car and going over to Johnny's house. But there's no loyalty there because Johnny don't respect you. Newsflash. Johnny doesn't respect you because Johnny doesn't see his worth. And if Johnny doesn't see his worth, guess what? He will never claim you. Did you hear what I'm saying? But see, as we evolve as people, we go through stages and phases of our own education. Maybe this was the moment that you said, well, you know what? I never was a cook. Who am I talking to? I'm going to learn everything I can about being a good cook, because I heard that the way to a man's heart was through his stomach. Or you may have said, well, well, maybe if I just put myself in this social setting, it'll attract a better caliber man and I'll learn something in the process, not knowing that you were the prey. Real recognizes real. Sure, God will open a door and let certain people come into your life, only for a moment. But don't you know, the people that are genuine, they never want to take from you. They only want you to be happy and build you up, even though they know they won't be able to see the outcome. Who am I talking to? This is your life. It's required that you run it. Stop worrying about the outcome and prepare for it. I don't have to tell you. Well, I will throw this out there. One of the things that has blown my mind in these last 25 years is you have a very small, minute demographic of people that prefer to acknowledge people not by their names, and they will call you names. Why are you acknowledging them? They call you out your name not out of love, but out of disrespect. Why do you respond to it? But deeper, why do you place yourself there to begin with? So let's go phases and stages. You say, well, you know what, Jerwin? That's why I decided to better my education. I think that's what I'll do. I'll just better my education, and I'll get that knowledge and accolades to go with it. And then lastly, I'll add the capstone of a man. But it don't work out. Now do it. Why? The education was for you, but the direction was from God. Who am I talking to? And that's why you see this all the time. You have a heart-to-heart with somebody. Now, mind you, they take time out of their lives to focus on you. Something did not sit well. Instead of being vulnerable, you deflect. You don't own it. You make excuses on why the behavior was what it was. This has been an example with the sorority of women. Unfortunately, there is a mindset that when it comes to women, don't ask them the truth. They won't tell you. They won't own nothing. So what's happening is you have young boys in men's bodies, which they're not developed, because 9 times out of 10, they didn't have a man in their life to say no. You got to roll your sleeves up. When you get knocked down, you got to get back up. But learn why you fell down. See, any fool can buy a house, but it takes a man to keep it. While he protects everything that's in it. That's why you hear people say, Money don't buy happiness, but money's always on trees. And when the leaves blow, they're going right with it. I want you to know something. There is a man, custom tailored, made for you. But you will not be able to have access to him until you have access to you. That's why you see people that have, for the most part, understand what commitment is, because they're committed to themselves. It's not their responsibility to lead you by your nose. It's to make sure that when you stand on your feet, you're not by yourself. So does it surprise you why you can't set your watch to Tony? Does it surprise you Larry can't be found? Does it surprise you why Dwayne always falls short? God ain't there. He never was there. But in the intended time and moment, they will all too believe this. When the fool acknowledges that God is real, the earth shakes. And she's been shaking like a bell for quite some time. But what does that have to do with your heart? Why does it seem that all the other women get to have the guy? What is she doing that I'm not? Let me tell you what she's doing. She's doing everything she can to keep him, but respect herself. See, a real man, he's only going to invest in what you hold sacred. So if you have men that have this hunger like it's the Last Supper and they're ready to come get it, don't worry. They won't be there to wipe their brow. They won't be there to clean up because they don't care. And that's why I brought up earlier, if you're treating your life like you're going through the drive-through, don't get mad at what's not in the bag. But see, society, I spoke this 2 years ago. I'm surprised no one spoke on it. Society wants you to be a prostitute, queen. Society wants you to willfully defile everything about you. That's why we have this such ultra sexual movement to convince the impressionable, well, you know, I got to do whatever I need to keep him. How about love yourself? It doesn't matter how much you snap it back and what tricks you know, because guess what? He knows already what you can and cannot do. And I know that's going to piss some people out because it puts you in a compromised situation because your last boyfriend, he had you doing everything under the sun. And you said, I'm not going to do that no more. And what happens? You see them same women running to the church thinking that, okay, if I get some daily bread, it's going to change. But you end up attracting more. Let me tell you something. The greatest church you're going to ever come to know is inside you, and your spirit lives there. Now, I don't want you to sit up here and say all is lost, but it doesn't do you any good to rush through your life. There may have been certain nuances or patterns echoed through people, through exchanges of conversation, or seeing things indirectly to let you know that God was there the whole time. Why are you worried about what your girlfriend is doing when you should take note what she's not telling you? What I'm trying to get you to understand is this: everybody deserves to be loved. Everybody. But you will not understand its power until you decide to do it first. Did you hear what I said? I'm one of the good ones. I am a spiritual man. But I put God first in anything I do. Why? What's at stake is my last name. What's at stake is my seed. That's why I only have one child. But God has already told me through revelation, you're going to have some more. So I have to prepare. And when he's ready, he'll give me the ultimate gift. Because you got to remember, you still got people that are going to come behind your path. I don't care if you was the town floozy. You still got work. They may have treated you like the pawn, but somebody's going to hold you up like the diamond you are. And this goes both ways. You're not meant to run through your life. You're meant to walk through it, smell the roses, see the beauty, and behold what is being shown. But I get it. I understand. Because we have illustrations of what not to do on every level, from Bad Girls Club to Love and Hip Hop to the women. What is that show? What's that series? Housewives. So the progression is, I'm just going to run through my temple, and then I'm going to find some temporary exposure, only to end up being somebody's trophy. You can be a trophy, but you'll never be anybody's queen until you decide to see how great you are inside. Who am I talking to? Don't you realize? Here's something that you might want to think about. When the next time your show comes on, when it comes on, I want you to cut the volume off. Put it on mute and just look at the screen. Just look at the screen and you'll be surprised what you see. That right there should tell you right there, from a social standpoint, the value they have for you. You are God's gift to man. Not to that boy, not to that fool, because any fool will waste your time. But that's okay, because see, right now you're feeling a little sensitive right now. Right now, you're having a hard time keeping that chin up. Let me tell you something. Why don't you do something different? Have that conversation that's long overdue with him. Yeah, you saw it. Let me help you out. Let me help you out. Yeah, with him. It doesn't matter how you acknowledge what your doctrination of understanding is, as long as you acknowledge he is the Alpha and Omega of your life. Without him, you're not living. You won't find peace. I don't care if you getting it in every day, twice on Sunday, and there's a different face. You ain't gonna get peace that way. And that's the proverbial metaphor for burning the candle at both ends. Because I know some of y'all are thinking, well, you know what? I hear what you're saying, Gerald, and I'll just build me a man. Hey, Steve Harvey warned y'all with his comedy set. He did. And some of y'all say, well, you know what? I'm gonna take a page out of the NBA and build me a starting five. I'll get one guy he's good with kids, another guy that's good with fixing stuff, another guy that likes to blow his dough, and a guy that likes to run his mouth. And yeah, I'll get one guy who's non-threatening because he don't know what gender he is anyway. Who am I talking to? Sooner or later, you're gonna come back to yourself. Sooner or later, you're gonna ask yourself, what was it all for? And sooner or later, you're going to be honest and say, was my heart worth it? Because you don't get no badge being a survivor, but you do get a testimony. That's the consolation prize. But just know God has something better. How much pain you got to go through? How much disrespect do you have to? How about this? How about the word no? You should add that to your vocabulary. Just that alone, you'll see. You'll see what they're about. And if that's not good enough, get you some white sage and burn it. Because demons don't like that at all. They don't. They run from that because it's blessed. So, I want you to, there's something I need to tell you. Because somebody, I'm trying to think what it was. Oh, let's go back to phases and stages. So you add to your repertoire of things you may not have been exposed to. You learn how to be a good cook. You go to educate yourself. And then you say, well, you know, I'm an independent person, so I'm going to expand my sexual prowess. Some had you scared, didn't it? Some downright hurt. And some, you were very disappointed. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. But just know this. There is a man being made new. And that man is looking at his life. He's looking at the choices he's made. And he's in introspection. And he's, you know what? I could have done this. Why did I do that? And he's building on himself. And as he's building on himself, maybe the first thing you happen to notice is his appearance changes. Maybe he's back in the gym. Maybe that spiritual shackle that was over him. Oh yeah, because demons are real, y'all. That was sucking away from his essence. He said, I got to go get me a job. Or he could have a job and say, you know what? I'm tired of playing. I need a career. I need a purpose. That's all preparation. So we just passed Thanksgiving. Why would you accept a plate that is cold? Why would you do that? You shouldn't. And yes, I understand, because deep down inside you're very fragile and you're looking for inspiration. You see that girl, she's doing all this, and every time she turns around and she's changing it up. She don't know if she want to be big. She don't know if she want to be small. She's just up and down. She don't have it together. And that's nothing but a show. So you don't see what she lacks. In a real guy, we see that. We see through them. And we steer clear. And that's why you see these moments, I don't know what the knee towel, whatever that crap is. Bottom line, if you ain't got it together, they're not going to help you get together. And when you hear people say, well, you know what? I got my troubles and you got yours and I'm ride or die. But guess what? When things happen, they ain't there. They ain't there. Oh, I know where they are. They're sitting on the couch with a game controller, because that's how they treat their lives. Real men are making it happen. And yes, there are some that financially they reap the benefit of their harvest. And you see that. But if it's not blessed, behold, all that was obtained is taken away. Who am I talking to? You shouldn't be saying it was all good yesterday. What happened? He was riding in a Mercedes. Now he's riding in a bus. But if it's not by way of compromising his self-respect, don't condemn him. Pray for him. Pray for him. And whatever he's going through, hope that he makes it through. Because there is somebody that God has placed your name, your being on his heart. He ain't going to be able to see you through sight. He will know you by spirit. And that's where that spiritual battle comes into place, because that devil knows, like, okay, it's about to get real. Okay, let's pull back, and all them demons come. All those urges that you said, shh, don't tell nobody. All those things that you said, I better keep a secret about this. All those things that you were denying are right in your face. The spiritual man sees through it all, prays through it all, and keeps moving. A spiritual man does not worry about using the word goodbye, because we already know one thing. In the intended time and moment, the two shall be made one. And shouldn't the end goal be Mrs., not, well, that's just my baby mama. You know, that's the most disrespectful thing that you can do, is to discredit a person that has sustained life, because you, queen, can't create life. You sustain it. Without him, there would not be that blessing known as your child, which is a collective of two. That's why it's so important that every little boy has a man. Not Johnny with the big piece of wood and the pockets are deep, because of the things that he lacked will come to the surface quicker than an inflated basketball thrown in a river. You deserve better. So let's go back and bring this home. Gerald, what is it men look at women for as a companion? They want themselves. Part of it, they want to know, will you have the integrity to respect yourself? not disrespect yourself. See, the girl that is loud and she's got her cake out there, she's not carrying herself. See, she get left at the bus stop. She don't get eye contact. Because see, that is the mother of the unborn. He's not going to do that. And some of y'all may have seen this. Had a good guy. And he was so good that your family members sabotaged your happiness. And usually that's nothing but jealousy and envy. Who am I talking to? The mom had influence instead of not knowing her place. See, a real man's not going to tolerate that. It's not about control. It's about balance. And that's why I tell the kings that see my videos, you want to know a snapshot of who she's going to become? Look at her mama. Look at who she's most influenced by, because progressively, those traits are her wisdom. I know a lot of women don't like that, but it's true. And that's why misery loves company too, because see, your girlfriend don't want you to be happy. That's why she always puts her mouth where it shouldn't be. But secretly, if she had her way, she would have him in her bed. And I know somebody saying, you ain't talking to me, girl. Okay. See, if you go back in my videos, you'll see a video I did almost 3 years ago about the things we don't like. Some thought that was just a rant, but it wasn't. Because at the end of the day, you're accountable for your actions. You have to deal with the recourse of free will. So you're responsible for who comes inside your door. It's just as much as you have responsibility of who comes in your womb. So why would you allow someone to desecrate it? Because they promise you the moon, give you the stars. You want to know who you're dealing with? Ask them when the last time they had a conversation with God. And watch their response. Or just spontaneously say, hey, pray with me. Watch how they act. They're not the one. Because something like that should be, boom, let's do it. Without even thought of response, you're in that moment. But if they're too busy going for the software, looking for the test drive, they're there to teach you a lesson. Not showing you the blessing. That's you. So meanwhile, there are going to be countless women. Some you will know, some you will not. Some you will see, and some you will hear about that will never, ever be happy. And they might as well have a sponsorship with Benetton. I don't know if they even have that brand anymore, Benetton. Benetton was a fashion line that their whole thing was colors. And every time you turn around, they're different with a different shade. To each his own. To each his own. The pigment doesn't matter. The spirit does. And they try so hard to convince you that they got it going on or they got it together. But really, it's just that close to the next disappointment. Why? If you don't love you, who's going to love you first? I'm just saying. So, while you see all these women out here saying, I'm gonna suck this in to put it there, real dudes, we don't care about that. We love the fact that we can touch you. You realize how much power there is in these 5 digits is the expression of what intimacy is, shared between two people. I'm not talking about your cookie jar. I'm talking your intellect. I'm talking about your emotion. See, they're going to be the ones that add the color and the contrast to your life story. Not worrying about the brush strokes or lack thereof. And I will say this, because I've said enough. I should have made this a series. Queen, if you decide to do the work, that means that starts with you connecting to that little girl that's been screaming at you all this time. Why won't you love me? Why do you keep putting me at risk when you know he don't care? Why are we going over there? Why are you putting this on me again? Why do you think you got them bumps? If you have the courage to do the work, you'll really see how strong you are. Why? Because you were beautiful the whole time. Does a flower that's been broken not lose its beauty? Does it lose its beauty because the stem is broken? No, because them roots are strong. And you'll come to understand the things that you think are your imperfections are your uniqueness. That's why you see so many people embracing being shallow, because they think that taking the cheap seats is quicker, the shortcut is quicker. But don't you realize every time that you cut your life shorter? A life without love is a life not lived. But you can't begin your life until you decide to ground your feet. And then here's the epiphany of it all, because you are going to get pissed. You are going to get pissed. When you decide to become vulnerable with yourself and stop running from your emotions, you're going to start doing some checks and balances of the people that you keep your company with. And you may be able to see their agenda every time you go around them. Well, every time I come around, he always smoking weed. There go my pockets. Every time I go around her, I'm always eating. There go my pockets. Every time I need something done, I always feel empty. Fill in the blank. God's trying to show you you deserve better. And oh yes, this is the part where I bring it home. But I will tell you there is a harvest to all this. First of all, right off the bat, take the stopwatch out your life and claim it back. If you turn around thinking, well, they say I look like Rihanna and I look like Beyonce, but look, Beyonce and Rihanna ain't thinking about you, and they can't do nothing for your happiness. And they can't live your life. Because I believe those two women, they got their own hang-ups. They don't broadcast it. But trust, they're women. They've got insecurities. But your greatest support system ain't going to be found here. It was always here. Because he created you. You think God loves the fact that he sees you crying? You crying in the night. You crying in your car. You crying to a stranger that's only going to prey upon you. Yeah, that's all right, baby. Mm-hmm. Who am I talking to? But they're never there when you need them, right? They're not there when you need them because you're not there when you should be within. So, Just bring this home. And I think I'm going to make a series out of it. And because I didn't talk enough and I need to cut these down to like 20-minute spurts. The man of your dreams will not be Mr. Right Now. Did you hear what I'm saying? What you determine is Mr. Right is really Mr. Right Now, because he's going to be forever. And everything that you need, he's going to supply everything. Maybe that's the reason why you don't need, you can get rid of that drawer. And some of y'all are like, well, that's why, that's the only time I feel alive, Joe. I gotta, No, you don't. That's just an example of you needing to give attention to yourself more. How about them dreams and hobbies that you got that you keep dormant? You say, oh, it's just a phase, but yet you pick up right where you left off, right? Because maybe that's part of your purpose. Maybe that's going to be part of your direction. And in that direction, that's going to unlock a part of you that you did not know. How about your abundance? But if you keep putting a price tag and emulating that woman who walks the, you do realize we live in a society now that you can't even tell the difference between the woman that walks the night, because she is being elevated to a false platform every day. And what's sad is there's another little girl that looks, listens, and takes note. And the things that are left uncultivated, unnurtured, becomes a placeholder for the pain to creep in. That's what the devil does. He listens to you, to your heart. Every time you said within yourself, I wish I had a man. And then, hey, what's up, girl? What's going on? All right, now, yeah, I hear what you're saying. Just turn around. Only to leave you broken. In some situations, convince you, well, I'm going to jump the fence because she can feel, newsflash, no, she can't. She can stimulate you, but she'll never be able to help you grow. That's what we do. If that wasn't the case, why are they spending so much time trying to emulate or rip us off? Shoot, I have a hard time looking for 2XL tank tops. I can't find them. There's a bunch of extra mediums around. I'm sorry. But what I'm trying to get you to understand is when you're ready to do the work, watch what God shows you. But you got to heal. You got to heal. Listen to that spirit, your discernment. If it don't feel right, it's not right. Say no. No doesn't mean forever. It means under review. And yes, I will say this, and I'm going to shut this down. If you think that the road to happiness is being that queen bee, well, what has that gotten you? Because we see that, he's like, all right. Sidestep. You don't look back. That's why you see some people going fishing. You'll hear people say, well, why take the first fish, and stop when you can turn around and throw that fish back? Some people do it to stimulate the brain. See, if I've still got it, only to set you back. That's the work of the devil, y'all. And something's telling me to tell somebody something. Somebody, you've been battling depression for a long time, actually from your teens. And they tried to label it as, oh, you just bipolar. And they wanted you to believe that the pharmaceuticals is all that's needed. Let me tell you what, as I mentioned in the last video I did, that's hormonal. And a lot of it has to do with your diet. You might not be drinking a lot of water and not getting enough rest, or just giving time back to you. And if you add those things, you'll be more clear-headed. I don't know who that's for, but I think you're at that point where you're saying, if I go over there, I don't want to go over there, because every time I go over there, I always end up searching. Yeah, you know the search game. You're trying to figure out where you put your panties at. And you're like, I'm not going through. But every time you go over there, the same outcome. No, that's what the devil wants. He just hasn't put his hooks in you yet, so that shackle can be on your feet. And oh yeah, all that glitters is not gold, queen. You already know that. That's why having a child with no love don't mean he's going to stick around. If he respects himself, he's going to do the work as a father should. But that doesn't mean he's going to love you. God's praying for you. You know I am. I see your worth. And for that, it helps me discern mine. You know what's really sad? For you to walk around without your smile when everybody knows, even the fools, that you're broken. It's time for you to get back to you and watch what God shows you in return. Be blessed. Oh, you got any questions, concerns? You know somebody? With all my videos, they're meant to be shared. If you're feeling what I'm saying, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're not, thumbs it down. But if you don't like what I conveyed, can you just drop me a line and let's chop it up, okay? The end goal I would like to do is, I want to know how y'all feel about this. I've been playing with it. You've seen other people that have platforms. If you guys would like to have a open platform where we, I'll put an announcement and we just talk. You got questions, concerns? Maybe there may be something that you might want to see, or something you want to discuss, or if there's something that you want validation for, and it's a one-on-one, drop me a line. All comments that are here do not come up on the screen or left in the comments section below. They have to be, I make sure that I read every comment. I do. And I try to be punctual in return, because just as you give me the time, that's priceless. I take that serious, because we're talking about your happiness. We're talking about your legacy. And kings, no matter what society throws at you, just know you got work to do, because it's your last name. Don't be afraid if you got knocked down. You're a man. Get up. Embrace what's going on. See the truth in it. And make that part of your testimony. Look forward to hear from you. Have a blessed day. Bye.